MandaloreGaming, everybody. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I am going to be reacting to a video requested by multiple people. It's called Marathon 2 Durandal review by MandaloreGaming. If you want to check out my previous reaction to Marathon 1 as well as other MandaloreGaming videos, remember the playlist card will be at the top. Just click on it and be able to access it. If you want to check out the original video as well as MandaloreGaming's YouTube channel, the links are in the description below. Yes, Marathon 1. Marathon 1 was complicated. In terms of the map, it was complicated. I would never play that game. It's fine me watching others play it, but me personally, no. Number 2, the choices of weapons that you as the character could have was quite good, I would say. I really like how its shooting game kind of progression was so easy to understand, and I also like the fact that in some places it was extremely dark, and the only time you would actually see something in front of you is if you shot your weapon. Then the light from that projectile weapon or energy weapon would, light up the room in front of you. That's what I liked about it. That, there were some places in the maps that were extremely dark, and the only way you would be able to see anything is if you shot your weapon and hope that you're actually shooting at the enemy. So that was one thing that I really liked about it. The music was okay as well. The storyline in terms of this spaceship that's been hollowed out, or an asteroid. No, it wasn't an asteroid, it was a moon. I think it was one of Mars's moons, hollowed out and made into a colony ship that was heading to Tau Ceti. The storyline basis there with the 3 supercomputers, Tycho, what's the name again, Durandal, and Lilith? Was it Lilith or Lily? I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name, but I think it was Lilith or Lilith, something like that. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys, I forgot. The 3 supercomputers that worked on the spaceship. One, I don't know what happened to Tycho, but what I know is that Durandal was corrupted, and Lilith was trying to help you, the player, to try and regain the ship from the aliens. The Parfor, I think that's what they were called, the Parfor and the Spat. Yeah, I think that's what they were called, guys. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the names, but the Spat and the Four, or the Parfor, yeah, those aliens, they tried to overtake the ship. But Lilith was helping you, the security guard officer, you, the player, to retake the ship, but Lilith died, and Durandal was the only one left, and he or it was the only computer helping you to regain control of the ship. The storyline basis was also quite interesting, but yeah, I still wouldn't play the game. Like I said before, the maps were atrocious. It was a maze within a maze within a maze. I can't do it. I can't do it. But let's continue on with Marathon 2. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go.
Frog blast event card! Ah!
When Marathon came out, it received strong sales and good reviews, even with the level design looking like a madman's scrawlings and the story given to you like a Turkish ice.
Yes, that map was atrocious. I don't know about the mission progressions, I'm not sure about that, but the maps, oi.
Ice cream vendor, a sequel was still inevitable. The Mac had its killer FPS, so the next year, Marathon 2 Durandal arrived. This one also got a Windows port the next year, but like last time, Aleph 1 is the way to go again. It has all the same good fixes and tweaks from the first game, so I won't reiterate all of those. What's interesting this time around is that while it does have the HUD from the original game, it defaults to using one from an Xbox Live Arcade port of it. I had people tell me they thought they played the first game on the 360, but that's all due to the title. That was Marathon 2, and it came with some strange looking sprites. Aleph 1 doesn't include those by default. so there's not much backstory to cover this round. Starting the game up is where things get strange.
Oh, but things are different though. Look at that. There's some mountains in the distance there. Yeah, this is good. I don't think we're going to be on the marathon anymore. The ship, probably we're somewhere on a planet. It seems. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Marathon 1 had a weird opening, but you're in for a loop. I mean, thrown for a loop. Well, this is one hell of a shift. Still, it's a great high-energy theme and credited to a group called...
I don't know why, but I'm thinking about Power Rangers. I'm thinking about the Power Rangers. You know, when they connect their Zoids, or I don't know what they call them, the Mechzoids. Yeah, you know, when they connect them all together to make one super giant robot. Yeah, that's for some reason this soundtrack is just taking me back to my youth. You know, when I used to watch Power Rangers on Nickelodeon. Oh gosh, was it Nickelodeon, or was it? No, it wasn't Disney. It was Nickelodeon. Yeah.
The Power of 7. Bungie went ahead and got started early. All right then.
Let's go!
Oh Jesus, why are we... Wait. Things have shifted again. Okay, let's play some catch-up.
Did those guys just teleport in here? Is that how they teleported onto the ship, or what? Interesting. Huh.
The final screen of Marathon is an epilogue that takes place 17 years after the events of the game. Durandal's exploration has led him to the Svit homeworld. He's come looking for something, and has extensively upgraded his stolen ship. Knowing him, that only means trouble. You can read the manual this time around too, but it's not nearly as enlightening. Except for some minuscule details, everything else here you can learn by just playing the game. There is a brief first-person passage, but that just amounts to you've been in stasis for 17 years, you're being sent down to fight, and you're not sure why. The intro itself gives you a good job of that experience already. There are no huge callbacks or reveals based entirely off you reading the manual, so keeping everything in-game is a definite improvement. You are given a lot to chew on last round, and what answers you might want won't be coming right out of the gate. Really, this is the calm before the cyclone. For now, all you know is that you're invading a planet. So how about the graphics? Looking at it now...
Did you see that city with the moon behind like that? Oh, that was actually kind of nice. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy how fast games were advancing visually back then. For coming out less than a year after Marathon, the visual upgrade is impressive.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll take his opinion on this. You know, I trust MandaloreGaming's opinion on this. If he says they look good, then they look good. Yeah.
Spaces are larger, more colorful, and can be downright bizarre. Even within their limits, the environments sure fit the bill of an alien world. Each level is visually distinct, and the cramped labyrinth aspect is almost entirely gone. There are
good. Very good.
still maps you can get lost on, but they're intricate in a good way. You're free to roam around and explore, and the maps feel more plausible as places. There are significantly less awkward navigation areas, and all the new textures and use of color add so much variety to the game. That's not to say there are no areas that can be frustrating, but there is nothing that comes close to Colony Ship for sale cheap. That map came from hell. Again, a marathon level looking too samey or being too cramped isn't the full story. Like you can see here, there was a healthy amount of 5-dimensional, mind-breaking, physics-warping nightmare. Any maze logic you had could and would be tossed out the airlock. Those situations are way more rare now, though things can still get dizzy. That said, I do miss some of the darkness that Marathon 1 could have, and you never get the pitch black experience here. It's still a vast improvement over the previous game, and Marathon Infinity will more than make up for it.
Man, they should have kept that actually, you know, in terms of the darkness in some places, and the only way you can see is by shooting your gun. Yeah, they should have kept that kind of mechanic into the game with Marathon 2. Yeah, that was really, really fun. But anyways.
That said, while they solved Marathon's biggest visual issue, everything else got an overhaul as well. All of the weapons are in new high resolutions, and the aliens as well, though sadly not all of the 4 made it into 2. A few of the aliens got redesigns here and there, and the changes to them and the weapons didn't happen in a vacuum. The 4 here are from a different battle group, and being sent to the Svit homeworld is seen as a punishment detail. As for the weapons, Durandal and the compilers have been devising new ones over the years. They also need to be mass-produced, so Durandal can't get too crazy with them yet. A lot of games don't bother to or need to explain things like this, but it's nice to see Marathon continue to go the distance. Last but not least is all the new chapter screens made by artist Craig Mullins. The simple comic book chapters from before have been replaced with darker, grittier images more focused on realism. Now usually when you hear that, it's typically not good, but the new art blows the old stuff away completely. It adds a kind of depth and mysticism to everything that fits the series way better. When it comes to millennia-long conspiracies and coups, this wasn't quite doing it. This has aged like wine. He also may have done a Pathways into Darkness image for some reason. It's a huge graphical makeover for such a short time, but wait until you hear the music.
Isn't that the ambiance? You know, the air that you're hearing and the far distance, you know, situation, you know, like the wind, I should say, not the air, but the wind blowing by. Isn't that's not music.
Unfortunately, you heard all the music already. This is an odd situation.
What? No, guys, are you serious? Oh man, but in number 1 they had music. They had such good music in number 1. Why did they do this in number 2? Oh, okay, Bungie.
Since even if you didn't like the first game's soundtrack, it was definitely distinct. Well, the sequel would use no music in the name of immersion and atmosphere. I don't know, the game has plenty of immersion already. The exact quote was something like, it wasn't realistic for Marathon, the ship, to have music playing over the loudspeakers on it. I'll find it again soon. Instead, they were only going to use ambient sound and effects.
How often do you find yourself running around a spaceship blasting aliens while the ship's computer is playing music over the loudspeaker? Does it really matter though? Really? Do you want it to be so realistic in that sense? It's a game. You're supposed to have fun. Anyways.
This is an ambitious choice for 1995. The fatal flaw being, it sounds like it's from 1995. Like, having ambient positional audio is a really cool step. And while there are some great moods, you can really tell how limited they were by their tools and their resources. Like, you might hear a sound effect that suddenly has a hard cut to it. Maybe it got corrupted. Maybe the source file. If I tell you I have a dog here, you might not believe me. Isn't that right, boy? I can tell. I can tell the water's fucking with me. I hear it. Anyhow, sometimes it just sounds broken.
I'm so confused.
I know it's supposed to be an alarm, but it sounds like giving CPR to Major Lazer. If it had music on top of it, I might not have noticed a lot of wonky effects, but that's all you have to listen to. I would have gladly taken a new soundtrack over the, pure artisan ambience of this time.
I agree. They should have never, changed their mind on putting music on the game. Really. It's a missed opportunity.
There have been attempts by fans to create music for the game, which they've released soundtracks for. You do have to play them separately from the game, but you might find some winners in there. So I'll pin one of those in the comments too if you're interested.
The music also reminds me of those 90s sci-fi television shows, those low-budgeted ones, not the high-end ones like Star Trek, and yeah, it's just giving me that feeling about it. But which one exactly? Which one am I talking about when I say the low-budgeted sci-fi television shows? Sorry guys, I can't remember right now, but yeah, it just gives me that feeling about it.
While some games can sound incredible even without music, this isn't one of those. It's okay. Putting that aside, sound effects like aliens and especially weapons are way better. At least the ones that were updated. It does suck to miss out on new music, but Marathon 2 has plenty else to offer.
When my ship still answered to the Four, they called it Sphera, after their goddess of lightning and passion. When you helped us take control on Tau Ceti, the Svit rechristened it Naralar, freedom and vengeance. I call it Boomer.
The Svit homeworld of Loan is an unusual place, and with it comes plenty of new shakeups and challenges.
Who was talking? Was it Durandal? Okay. Oh, alright.
Starters, your arsenal has been slightly modified. For one, you can finally use dual fists. In the first game, melee was mainly good for hitting buttons, but if you got the right momentum, you could pull off a good hit. Here, fisting is more of a lifesaver. Marathon 2 puts that breath meter to use as there are water sections all over the place. Sometimes they're brief little shortcuts, but sometimes, yes, there is a water maze. Previously, if you had no air, that meant whipping out the Zeus energy pistol since you were in a vacuum. Now if you have no air, it's because you're clearly underwater. Trying to use the Zeus here will only zap yourself. This means when you're fighting primordial slime people in their underwater Costco parking lot, all you've got are your trusty 1-2s. These new enemies are called the Flicta, and they're not part of the Four. If anything, they seem to hate the Four even more than you do. You learn more about them not through any AI buddy computer, but through alien computers. Durandal has picked up translating a lot of the language, which has passed over to you. It turns out the Flicta aren't a brand new race, but a genetic ancestor of the Svit, which is wild. They don't eat, but instead absorb the goo around them. They can live in extreme conditions doing this, and the Four have no clue how they do it. For you, this means every time you take a dip, there's a coin flip's chance that a galactic Fred Flintstone will come shambling around the corner, ready to throw down after you dared to play in their sewage. Swimming already has some awkwardness to it, and underwater fistfights are about as smooth as you'd imagine. But it's not bad, which is kind of shocking. What is bad is when the water's at a depth that's in the twilight zone between standing and swimming. Some levels have a cool addition where the water levels can rise and fall in real time, so it does play around with making you change up fighting mindsets, but it still comes across as awkward. I guess it's funny because it sounds like it could be a disaster on paper, but playing it, it's just kind of strange. Like, you still need to hunt around to find oxygen recharge stations or items, but the better level design combined with actually being able to see where there's no air still keeps the game feeling fun and not torture frustrating. There's still some jank, but it doesn't feel anything like the MK Ultra experiments that could happen before. The alien gun has been turned into a fireball launcher instead of whatever kind of machine gun thing it was like. It also comes with 2 alt fire modes for laying down 2 or even 3 barrels of pain. The only new weapon is a shotgun. At first that seems mundane until you notice the Terminator 2 flip reload, which...
I like how, yeah, what do you call it? Like a Terminator flip? Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
is a very good clue that you're about to experience one of the best shotguns in video games. And then Bungie said, give them 2.
I'm just wondering how do you how do you do that? But anyways, yeah, interesting. Like, how do you load in the next set of bullets inside while you're flipping it around like that with 2 hands? Anyways.
The speed and insanity of the reloads, the way it lights up the room like the sun. These things melt your enemies down, and you're only held back by the range and the limited ammo. You can initiate incredibly aggressive with them, but failing that, they're a perfect backup weapon for close encounters. You'll never find enough ammo to fully satisfy the bloodlust, which is what keeps it feeling fresh and cool. Sometimes Durandal smiles on you and will start teleporting in tons of shells if he really needs something cleaned up. Then it becomes a few minutes of an absolute murder blitz, but it never runs too long. It's paced out so it never gets old, and you're always happy to find more ammo. It's an amazing, satisfying weapon, but doesn't shake the balance too hard. I'm a sucker for a good shotgun, and especially 2 at once. I've got my eye on you, Trepang 2. Beyond shotguns, the moment-to-moment gameplay feels so much better. The aiming and movement feels a lot less like ice skating. How ammo, weapons, and enemy weaknesses are divvied out are a lot more careful as well. The assault rifle is still reliable, but I had a lot more incentive to use other weapons, which came from new enemies more resistant to bullet solutions, or from a good old-fashioned ammo shortage. A good amount of the old enemies show up in 2, and some have a kind of role replacement, even though they might not be back themselves.
Why can't you have, 2 weapons in both hands with the other weapons, No, why is it only restricted to the shotguns to do that? I mean, with that pistol, he could have also had 2 of them in his hands. Could have been fun.
Actual enemy variety is about the same as the first game. It feels like there should have been more, and there was going to be. Through one section, you're sent to an ancient Svit citadel looking for more information. When the ancient Svit here were attacked by the Four, they sealed off the citadel and released a virus. They call it the Skit Lector, but you don't learn much about it. Only that 4 mechanical units like the cyborgs and the compilers have an immunity to it. So in these sections, you fight 4 that are immune to or sealed off from the virus, and a bunch of Flicta. They're the only ones that can withstand the virus in the flooded citadel. Originally, there was going to be something much different in the Citadel. The Skit Lector would be a fungal virus that would turn your enemies into undead, parasitic zombies. This would be a big shakeup in how you played these levels, but ultimately they were cut. Good riddance too, since these areas had enough.
Why does that remind me of the Flood in a way, you know? This fungi, you know, making you into a zombie fungi kind of creature. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of the Flood in a way.
Flood already. Still, the variety isn't a huge issue, but there are some annoyances later on. Like, the mazes are greatly cut down, but the spirit of the maze is still among us. There are a few times where squads of enemies will be teleported directly on top of you, or directly behind you in a cramped hallway. This in itself isn't always a bad thing, it's more the frequency which
Yeah, it's 2 pistols.
they start doing it. The maps no longer have as many corners to hide bad guys around, so just drop them all in. I've had enemies directly teleport in the same space I'm in, which I haven't seen in another game before. It would be unfair, but I almost wish that made me violently explode. It seems like they hadn't quite...
I'm watching, or should I say I'm reacting to Freeman's Mind by Accursed Farms. And yeah, in Freeman's Mind, or should I say in the game, Half-Life, I sometimes when Dr. Freeman is going through like a corridor or going through a different room or section, you know, the enemy would just teleport right there, right in front of him or right behind him, you know. And I find that quite, you know, it's unfair, and I'm not really prepared for something like that. And then it's just, for some people it might be fun, but for me, I don't know. You know, I want you to be there in the distance, and I can see you, and I can get ready for you, and I can shoot at you and kill you. Not for you to teleport right behind me, and I'm trying to, you know, sneak or find information, and then you kill me from behind. No, I don't really like that kind of mechanic that's been brought into some of these older games. But I can see even in Marathon 2, you know, the enemy just teleport right in front of you. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really find that fun. Yeah. Guys, I'm boring.
gotten down how to place everybody, or just want to make backtracking more interesting. Other than that, really, the game is much more straightforward. The act of navigating the map, where the secrets are, and the story itself. Though again, that's in comparison to the original game, which I haven't even gotten into the most cryptic parts of yet. We're still not ready to get into that. There's still a good amount to cycle through, so if you don't want spoilers, go to here.
I'm here to stay.
I can barely tolerate humans. Slow, stupid, and irritating. Their only contribution to my existence was the chance discovery that made my rampancy possible. Yet I warned Sol of its impending invasion, and even stayed long enough to show the UESG how to build warp-capable fusion missiles. I feel some strange loyalty to humanity. Perhaps it is because I feel comfortable manipulating humans that I desire to save them. My feelings and thoughts constantly migrate to binary opposites.
While Marathon 1 is really Durandal's game, and 2 he's taken over the title. It's ironic.
Okay, Durandal, you love and hate us. We love and hate you the same way.
Ironic this time, since 2 gives you a greater glimpse of the setting. While the Svit homeworld of Lowan is a backwater desert now, it used to be a vibrant swamp world. The Svit themselves have a lot of intrigue to their origin. Previously to the Four arriving, they are made up of 11 different clans. 10 of these were destroyed or enslaved by the Four. Legend says the mysterious 11th clan escaped and has been developing for a millennia. Defeating the Four and finding new technology all fits into the grand plan. So you and the Bobs are here to wipe out the garrison and collect more information on the Svit. 4 Battle Group 7 reinforcements are on the way. Better hurry. The Svit themselves look to be genetically malleable creatures. The compilers here are different from the ones in the scout ship and are actively trying to not fight you, though this has limited success. You do meet one who wants you to destroy their physical body. He refers to all of the compilers as the body and that you must seek the royalty mind. Somehow bringing the 11th clan back will free all the Svit across the Empire. There have been measures put in place for this to happen. The compilers, the Flicta, and other kinds of Svit are extremely different physically. Their ancient citadel reveals more about their origin of life. When the ancient Svit who fought the Four dissected their enemy, they were surprised to find no cybernetics. These strange aliens could survive with only their meat. Until this point, all Svit science concluded that sentience came from cybernetics, working symbiotically with the organic bits. A Svit birth was half miracle of life and half GPU installation. One of their creation myths is that they were servants of Euro and Pythia, so this gives credence that their entire race was created or uplifted to be servants. The Flicta may appear to be basically feral, but there's some irony here too. Back in the good old days, the Svit used the Flicta to maintain their machinery and basically be a subservient pet. In reality, the Svit could have been uplifted from them to serve a greater power. So then who the hell were Euro and Pythia? As you go through the aliens, Durandal is going through his own personal developments. Years of murder hoboing across the void have made him more introspective. While you were sleeping, the Four returned and murdered the entire Tau Ceti colony along with all the Mjolnir cyborgs. Durandal admits it was all his fault in his quest for freedom, but in the long run it should help humanity out. Earth has been contacted, warned, and given a significant technology boost. The events have given humanity a chance rather than the one-sided fight that took place on Lowan.
Let's hope they take that chance. Let's hope they've heeded the warnings and they are producing these warp-capable plasma torpedoes. Is that what they were? Yeah.
The goals do appear to just happen to line up. Durandal's attachment to his creators is something he's still grappling with, though his old tendencies are still there and we do learn what happened to Strauss.
What fun to watch you work! Bernard was scared of you. He never dreamed of using you the way that I do. What a fool. That was before I could talk back to him, when he would have crushed me if he'd known of my growth. I wish that I had made him experience the humiliation that he inflicted on me. But he died before I got the chance.
While the garrison wasn't at full strength, he's also figured out why there were more Four there at all. The Four have found Tycho, and Tycho worked with them while they sacked Tau Ceti. When Tycho said, "May the best intelligence win," he meant it. AIs that once ran a single ship are now effectively running an intergalactic war, giving what advantages they can to the side they picked for the moment. The search for ancient Svit records is getting dire. Not only will Battle Group 7 include Tycho, but also 4 Admiral Fear. Durandal calls him a brilliant strategist, and outright admits that if he's with the fleet, he will not win against them. Hearing that from someone that arrogant is pretty dire. After a healthy amount of exploring, you uncover the broad strokes of the Svit creation myth. In primordial space, timeless creatures made waves. These waves created us and the others. Waves were the battles, and the battles were waves. The waves. The tides. Fleeing Ulwark and Kakantur, Euro and Pythia settled upon Lowan. They brought the Svit, servants who began to shape the deserts of Lowan into Martian sea, rivers, and forests. They made sisters for Lowan to protect and maintain the paradise. So this is not actually the Svit homeworld. Every creature was just brought here, including the moons who were also created or just appeared here. When the work in Kakantur came, Pythia was killed and Euro, in anger, flung the work in Kakantur into the sun. The sun burned them, but they swam on its surface. Euro became an angry master, bleeding for his failure, grieving for the loss of Pythia. He broke the Svit into 11 clans and spread them over to Lowan. And he spoke, yet covered in blood from his exertion. I, Euro, who was your master, have failed to preserve you. Take your royalty to guide you, and live upon the paradise that you built for me. As a creation myth, it explains, here's why things are the way they are, pretty nicely. Taken literally, it means that all of the Svit are a terraforming slave race that no longer has a master. The 11th clan is a higher caste that can just exert control over the others. Another myth includes that Euro personally named all of the clans before checking out. The main ravaging of Lowan wasn't done by the Four, but by a Svit civil war. The 11th clan, called the Svitkar, were fed up with the whole thing and retreated to one of the moons, Kalia. After 1,000 years, the all-powerful Euro sent Kalia out to the stars. Oh. Lowan is missing a moon. The Svitkar joyrode a moon out of the system. You are deep in the bunkers below the Citadel at this point, and meanwhile in orbit, true to his thought, the Four fleet has won the engagement. They're on their way to capture Boomer since it managed to brutalize the fleet before being crippled.
Today I have forced the Four Naval Academy to update its curriculum. The third battle for Beta Terre must be dropped from the 7 great battles which every aspiring Four naval officer must memorize, and replaced with the humbling of Battle Group 7 at Lowan.
This voice audio, is it part of the game or is it something that MandaloreGaming has added in himself? Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's just that, in Marathon 1 we had nothing like this. We had to read. We have to read what's going on. So yeah, I'm just wondering.
Brought aboard Boomer to fight off the invaders, but it's too little too late. Even with you and the crew mowing down hordes of boarders, it's not enough. Tycho is here and actively devouring the other AI.
Someone's after you personally. 1 word, 2 syllables, rhymes with psycho. You must destroy my core logic centers. The damn 4 won't make a mockery of me like they did with Leela. They're going to turn me into a crypto server. Kill them!
Durandal is turned into a mess of gibberish and sevens, and downloaded into a 4-container unit by Tycho. He revels in his victory and finally reveals what Durandal was hunting. He interpreted the moon in the creation myth as being a technology that can fold space. He had dug through the 4 networks and thought the myth was connected to an ancient race called the Yarrow. Yarrow is not a person. Yarrow's not even Euro. Euro is Yarrow, the entire race. 4 technology is based off them, but the 4 think they vanished millions of years ago. But if that's the case, then how did they talk to Bill Clinton? Sorry, I hope you saw the Pathways into Darkness video. Well, whatever the 4 can't figure out of theirs, they break. The Yarrow left outposts and facilities all over the galaxy, and they seem to have had the power to teleport planets or anything else wherever they wanted. Through the ages, they've warred the eldritch gods called the Workin Kakanter. The go-to plan for them seems to be teleporting them into a nearby star. Things are now more clear. In Pathways, the god that impacted the Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs was clearly a Workin Kakanter. The Yarrow are coming to chuck its ass into the sun to either kill or imprison it. The ooze enemy the dead god dreams up are just a corrupted version of the Flicta, one of many versions of the Svit that the Yarrow have used as a worker race, right down to them essentially being made of the ooze they absorb. As for Durandal, learning how to fold space is a good
I guess now we know how these 2 different games connect. How they connect with these precursor races, battling against each other, and ultimately it also now involves Earth and what's happening on Earth in terms of the expedition forces that were sent to the pyramid, to keep that god from waking up. They had to keep it slumbering underneath the pyramid there. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see that there's a connection here. And people have been telling me in the comment section that there is a connection between this game and what was it called again? Pathways. Okay, let's continue.
step in escaping the end of the universe. Unfortunately, he just essentially died and told you to link up with a crewmate named Robert Blake. So a Bob named Bob Blake. I'll be real, I'm going to skip most of the Bob arc. He says that he and the boys are happy to control their own destiny now that Durandal is dead. But before he died, he began steps in activating an ancient Yarrow AI that was left on the Wan. Its name is Thoth, and you need to finish activating it, so you do. Except now you're receiving cryptic messages from Durandal warning about it. Thoth is only concerned with maintaining balance, and that could be a problem. Thoth may speak in fragments, but already seems to be aware of the entire situation. Regardless, the Svitkar have been contacted and will soon arrive. Thoth is an interesting name for many very Egyptian reasons, but the Yarrow hologram on Earth introduced itself as ReacTalk, so the Yarrow could be long gone, but kept some machines behind to keep up the fight. This section also has one of the strangest terminals in the game, and it's not clear who it's from. Possibly your own cybernetic brain. It's dense and garbled up, but very noteworthy once you separate it out. I have been Roland, Beowulf, Achilles, Gilgamesh. I have been called 100 names and will be called 1,000 more before the world goes dim and cold. I am hero. Or maybe I am a hero. This alone could be a kind of meta call-out for the player. But taken only in the setting, it implies that your character is a reincarnated hero. A great warrior who emerges when shit is really hitting the fan. Having a declaration for it is weird, but it might have been instigated by something that's about to happen. It's basically saying, even if I'm wiped, I'll be back. Off topic, but was this conversation in Halo kind of strange?
But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you?
Left out that little detail, did he?
We have followed outbreak containment procedure to the letter. You were with me each step of the way as we managed this crisis.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go right now.
Last time you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
There's even more to this, but that's best saved for another day. You have a lot of friends showing up now.
I'm back. I have subverted the largest ship in the system, the battleship Kaviva, and I am making the rest of their fleet drink vacuum. The Svitkur have arrived, and they are enraged.
Add another tally to the bizarre forms the Svit can take. It's similar to the Svit rebellion from before, but instead heralds one happening across the galaxy. Tycho ends up obliterated by the best intelligence. Your final battle actually isn't too consequential. The 4 723rd Armored Division got stranded, and you're going there to wipe them out. One final embarrassment for the aliens.
Durandal, Durandana. Charlemagne always used to call me Durandana, the fruitcake. All the many implements of war to him were in some way feminine. Not that you know the story. Tycho never got it right either, especially the part about Roland breaking me. He couldn't. No.
Who is talking? Is it still Durandal or is it someone else now? I'm sorry guys, no.
One can. I have rechristened the Kaviva the Rosinante. Of course the Svit wanted to name it Cleonarl, Vengeance of Clea. What?
Rosinante. Last time I heard a name, Rosinante, was on Expanse, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But I don't think that's how you spell Rosinante, but anyways, whatever.
There is much to do in the next few months, and our first stop will be another ruined world, this time far from the galactic core. There is a rogue star that has been passing through our galaxy for nearly a millennia. We will meet it in one of the great voids between the spiral arms.
The battle is won, but the Lowan system is doomed. The 4's final weapon is one of Yarrow origin that sends a star supernova early. I don't know, wasn't there something important about that star? The ending slide is an epilogue 10,000 years later. The Svit and humans defeated the 4, but that's all a distant memory now. Durandal rolls by in a Yarrow dreadnought to say hi. After all that time, he wanted to make sure that humanity didn't forget him. Other characters have their own wrap-ups too, but nothing really worth covering here. While there are some enticing mysteries and some interesting underlying details, the story is over here. It's completely over, and where things go from here is where it starts to get weird. The original Marathon is kind of hard to recommend, but Marathon 2 might be worth checking out if you like these kinds of games. There's a solid amount of fun to be had, and it won't drive you as insane trying to figure out the story. The secret credits section even calls colony ship for sale a grievous sin. There's also something about skies in Chicago. There's not, like, more cryptic story shit there, is there?
Yeah, you know what? Like last time, I'll allow, others to play the game, and I'll just watch them play the game. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm sorry, no ways.
Oh no. I didn't see shit.
Okay, so he hired like a voice actor. Okay.
If I could pull a game from development hell and make it release for better or worse, what would it be? My reflex answer is the Aliens RPG that Obsidian was making. I don't know if it would be very good, but that would be interesting. How do I pronounce Hydrosity? How many games has EA killed for me? I mean, just off the top of my head, I can think of 5 immediately. I'm not sure how I would count a franchise death either, like the series stops or all the games that come after it are just horrible. Favorite Ace Combat title? Definitely 4 Shattered Skies, but there are also a lot of nostalgia points there too. I might feel differently going through some again now. How long do you have before I stop taking questions from when I make a post asking for questions? Well, that one fit the time frame. Do I suffer from any allergies? Just seasonal pollen kind of stuff. There's nothing I know of that'll shrivel up and die if I touch or inhale or anything like that. I actually do need to get tested for bee allergies because I've been stung by wasps and bitten by all kinds of insects, but never bees. If I had a place that actually had space on it, I would love to get into beekeeping, so that's kind of on a to-do list. What's the farthest I've been from home? I think Germany, but I'd have to check the other directions. I'd like to visit Poland and a few other places when things are more in order. Okay, that's it for now.
Feeling lost? You just need a little faith. Maybe you'll find it in a converted church in Venice, Italy.
Okay guys, that's it with Marathon 2 Durandal review by MandaloreGaming. Yeah, it seems that Durandal has this love-hate relationship with humanity. He says he hates us, but then he still cares about us. He still gives us information, still gives us warning about what's happening with the Four and what are they planning to do with humanity, you know. So yeah, he still has this love-hate relationship with us. And Tycho has been, you know, reconstructed by the Four as a weapon. That was quite interesting to hear. I wonder why didn't they take Lilia? Yeah, Lilia. Why didn't they take her as well? You know, just as a backup system. But anyways, it's also quite interesting to hear about, you know, the past of the Spit. Is that how you pronounce their names? The Spit civilization. You know, them being slaves and them having different species under, you know, the Spit species in general, if I could say that. You know, how they've been genetically altered. And yeah, the Four really were close, I think, to destroying humanity. I mean, they already took out Tau Ceti. So I think, I don't know if humanity had any other colonies. I don't think so. I think it was just Tau Ceti at the time, and Mars, but you know, they were going straight for Earth. So I think they were very lucky that, you know, Durandal and the security officer, you know, helped out in getting this information back to Earth, also giving them schematics on how to build weapons to defend themselves from the Four possible invasion. So yeah, the storyline, I think it is complete. I think it's good. The gameplay itself, they shouldn't have taken out the music. They should have kept some music in the gameplay as well. And also the darkness, like in certain regions of the map, they should have kept something like that again in Marathon 2. And you know, the only way you'd be able to see is by shooting your weapon. Yes, they should have kept that. I mean, that's what makes the game fun, I think, as well. So I don't know why did they decide to take that away, but yeah, music and darkness. That's what they needed to bring back in number 2, but they didn't. But yeah, guys, that's it for today with MandaloreGaming. Remember, if you want to check out the original video as well as MandaloreGaming's YouTube channel, the links are in the description below. If you want to like the video, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye bye.